thank you for making it to another episode of The Money Exchange. You know what I always ask, if you enjoy the show, make sure you give it a thumbs up or leave us a comment to let us know. And if you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend. This episode I'm so excited to have the guest that I have on because she's going to talk about business credit. Hi,
Misha. Hey, everyone.
I am so excited to have you here. So Misha and I met doing an educational session for one of the fraternities. Which one was it now? I'm forgetting now.
Omega Psi Phi.
Yes, thank you for shouting them out. Omega Psi Phi. And from there, she and I did a live, and she is going to drop some gems for you all on business credit. Yes, so I know you guys hear a lot about personal credit, but those of you that have businesses, you need to understand the importance of business credit, and Misha is your girl. So Misha, just go right into it. Why is it important for people to have sound business credit?
Okay, well, there are so many reasons why business credit is key, right? Any financial expert will tell you, and I'm sure you tell your clients this, no co-mingling funds, right?
Yes.
So you always want to keep your business expenses separate from your personal expenses, right? And you do that, your tax accountant is going to love you, right? But it's also really important for you to do on your own. You don't want to use all of your personal money to invest in your business. And one of the things that I love so much about business credit, well, there's a few things, but one, business credit is the only type of credit that you can get without what I call the 3 C's. Those 3 C's are cash flow, collateral, and credit, right? So when you think of consumer credit, there's so many things that they look at, right? They're going to look at your utilization. They're going to look at your age of credit. They're going to look at your on-time payments. They're going to look at a lot of different things make up your FICO score. Mm-hmm. On the business side, they want to know, do you pay your bills on time? And they want you to have a good amount of accounts, right? Well, to get started, you don't have to initially have any credit where it's going to take you about 6 months just to produce a FICO score, because that's part of their formula, right? How long have you had credit?
That's right.
Right? You don't initially need any collateral. So on the consumer side, once you start getting those larger loans, for the most part, they're typically associated with a home loan or a car loan. And that is the collateral. If you ever stop paying your mortgage, what are they going to do? They're going to try to come for you, right? They're going to try to come after your home if you stop paying for 90 days or more. And same thing with your car. You'll end up on the repo list. Who wants that? Nobody, right? So you typically have to have collateral. Mm-hmm. Business credit, the amounts are 10 to 100 times higher on the business side that you can get as opposed to the consumer side. And that's according to the SBA. This isn't my info, right? Like these are, you guys can look this up yourself.
And the SBA, Small Business Association.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And for me, I'm a more conservative investor. Mm-hmm. So I was always like super nervous to invest if it was like a larger investment, because I'm like, oh, well, what if this? And what if this happens? And what if this? And I go to the extreme, okay? Like, relax. It's not that deep. But that's how my personality is. Now, the beauty about business credit is you can get this large capital to invest without a PG, also known as a personal guarantee. And that means
is personal guarantee.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what that means, let's say, God forbid, something goes wrong, right? COVID happens. So many people weren't ready or expecting COVID, something that none of us could prepare for, right? Mm-hmm. Changed how we do everything.
Yes.
Well, if something like that happened and you face some type of financial hardship and things weren't working out for you and you didn't have the money to pay back the loan, well, guess what? Your home is safe. Mm. Your car is safe. All of the money in your personal account is safe. right? So you're protected. So when you think of investing, you always want to think about best case scenarios, worst case scenarios. So the worst case scenario for me, when I would think about it, okay, God forbid something goes wrong. The worst that can happen is I have to fold this business, but guess what? I still have the skill set.
Yeah.
And because business credit is attached to my EIN, I can open up a whole nother business with a whole different EIN. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. So now let's talk about that. So you started off with don't commingle your funds. So personal, business, have that separated. So, but you can't just do that, right? So in order for you to have the business account so that you can get business credit, what are the things that people need to have the business account that enables them to establish business credit?
So there are a few things that any lender or underwriter is going to look for. You have to have a credible business, a business that they deem credible. They need to be able to find you on Google. If they Google you, they may want to do their research on you because the amounts are so high, and because you may not be personally guaranteeing their money. They want to make sure that you're legit and you have intentions on paying them back, right? So they want to be able to call 411 and find your business. They want to be able to look your business up on the internet. They want to be able to find you. So there's a few key things that they're going to look for. Are you registered with National 401? What's your business address? Do you have a website, right? Some basic things. Now, you don't have to have the most beautiful website, but, basic key things that most businesses have, right? That's what they're going to be looking for. So credible business. Business credit is different in the sense that you have to establish credit reports. On the consumer side, it just happens. There's the three major bureaus. There's a bunch of bureaus, right? But the three major bureaus are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Well, that's you. On the consumer side, things just automatically get reported for you, whether you pay, whether you don't pay. For the most part, most credit gets reported. On the business side, if you want it to get reported, you have to establish the reports for them to report you. The business side, it's Duns and Bradstreet, it's Equifax and Experian. So there's no TransUnion on the business side. What else? We were asking about, was it?
What else do they need in order to even establish their business account? They need their employer identification number.
So you're going to need that. You're going to need a bank account. You're going to need to be registered, right, with the Secretary of State. Your business needs to be a registered business. One thing that I like to let people know, if you are a sole proprietorship, and oftentimes when I speak on business credit, I speak on business credit with getting it with no personal guarantee. Depending on the type of entity your business is, you may be required to get a personal guarantee. You may have to do that, right? And the reason being, like, for example, a sole proprietorship, that's just because how that entity is set up. You and your business are one under that entity. So if you and your business are one, that means, they can come after your personal assets because that's what you registered your business as. That's the type of entity that you set up. On any basically other entities, for the most part, you will be separate because that's how the rest of the entities are set up. So that's important for people to know. Yes, you can get business credit if you are a sole proprietorship, but you will be personally liable for the money, right? But you'll still get those larger approvals and things like that.
So, most people, if they don't know, they should know. And especially if they're following me, they should know this. Your credit score is important. And it's important for you to use credit responsibly. And most people know their credit score is a three numeric digit number. And it's great for it to be over 720. When it comes to business credit, describe how business credit is, because it is very different. Like you said, even the fact that personal credit, if you have a lender, more times than not, whatever that lender is, home, car, creditor, credit card, they are automatically sending your stuff to the three major bureaus. Talk to us about what is a good business credit. Is it a score? Is it 2 digit? Is it 3 digit? Like what makes up the score, and how do you get a good score in the eyes of those that you would want to work with?
Sure. That's a great question because the scoring is very different, right? FICO score goes up to 850. Well, business credit goes up to 100. So you can establish business credit like this. For my clients, I tell them I have a funding guarantee that's included where I guarantee that you're going to get funding, and you should be able to get 5 to 6 figure funding within a 90-day period. It's very easy to get going if you know what you're supposed to do, because again, they don't have the factors. They're looking at is your business have all the things in place that they're looking for in terms of being a credible business. They're looking at how many different business accounts that you have open. Lenders like lending to people that other people lent to.
They're like, okay, they took a chance on her, I'll take a chance on her. Yeah. So
the more people that they see took a chance on you, they're like, you know what? Okay, I can do that. Oh, okay, Amazon's rocking with her. Okay, yep, she's good, right? That's how they look at it, right? So all you have to do, you have to open up the accounts, and you have to pay on time, right? And you have to have, of course, the credible business and register the reports and other things to it. But those are the two major factors. Now, the problem is, and why everybody doesn't have business credit, while the process can be simple, there's not a whole lot of information out there. And the fact of the matter is 90% of business merchants do not report on-time payments.
I was going to ask you about that. So that's what I understood. So even though, let's just say I'm going to like use for me, like I work with a copy place, and then I work with somebody that did some other work for me. They are businesses that have the opportunity to report that the arrangement that we had set up, I paid on time, and I frequently use them, but that's just not something they wanted to do. Like, they just don't do that. How do you know? I guess my question is two-part. For businesses that have companies that you use in your business that have an opportunity to report that don't, how can you get them to report is the first question. Second question is there a way for you to find out in advance of using a service if they report to report business credit?
That's a good question. So in terms of trying to get them to report, I think it's going to be difficult. It's really up to the creditor. Okay. Right. And it's just, it's like extra work for them. And on top of that, there's not the same type of consumer protection laws on the business credit side that are on the consumer side. So it's much more loosey-goosey. And they may report you. They may say, no, but if you don't pay, then they'll report that. I'm talking about 90% of on-time payments. Yeah. And it's really difficult. What I would say is you can definitely try to ask, but let's be real. You might just get a random Susan on the phone. She don't know what she's talking about. She'll just tell you what she thinks. It's difficult. I would suggest asking if they report, but also understanding they may not, whoever you're speaking to, they might not have the whole lowdown on how the company operates. Okay. One of the things that I do, I provide my clients with a booklet of vendors that report on-time payments, and there's different levels, right? Initially, you start off with merchants that aren't going to require that cash flow that I mentioned in terms of the 3 C's, no collateral, and aren't going to require you to have any credit. Now, once you get approved by those lenders and you pay stuff on time with those merchants, then you move up to another tier who, they may have more strict guidelines, but by then you've already established credit. You've already made yourself, proven yourself some more. So then they'll be likely to lend to you. And that might be, that next level may be store cards and credit cards and gas cards. And then you go up and up to the point where you're getting that funding, you're getting those lines of credit. And that's just, sometimes they might break it up where, I know it sounds crazy, but they might offer you like $100,000, but they break that up in like, 10 different credit cards. Some may just be lines of credit where you have access, like cash in the bank, and you can use it as you need. And what's beautiful about lines of credit is you're only paying interest on the amount that you need. So you have access to this money if and when you need, but you're not paying interest on anything unless you use it, and you're only paying interest on the amount that you use.
Okay, got it. Now you said a great credit score for a business is 100. So
that's a perfect score.
So that would equate to like the 850 on the personal side for FICO 8. Okay, so is there a range like the FICO? Is it like if you have this, then this is fair, this to this is poor?
Yeah. So around 60 is good credit. 80 is really good credit. So they'll say like between 60, in the 60s, that might be fair, okay. 70s, 80s, that's like really good credit. And then anything above 80 is like great credit, right? But it happened so fast. Like literally my credit score was an 80 after only 5 accounts. I only had 5 accounts open. I paid those 5 for my business. Yep. I paid those 5 accounts on time. Boom, 80 business credit score. And that's with Beautiful. 5 accounts.
Wow. And how do you get your credit score for your business? So it's not where you would go and get your personal credit, right? Where do you get your credit score? How do you find out 2 things? How do you find out who's reporting on your behalf and what your score is from that reporting?
So you find out through your credit report. You can monitor your credit through different sites. You can go directly through the bureaus. Now, there may be a fee. For example, Duns and Bradstreet, they charge like $100 and something a month for their monitoring. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So the only way that you can get your credit score is through some sort of subscription model. You can't get your business credit score like a one-timer. I mean, because again, most people listening are probably thinking about how they do it for credit, how they do it for personal credit. And now, you can get a free credit report weekly until April of next year due to COVID. Your score is accessible for many different channels. So on the business side, so you can get subscription models or you can get one-timers, and most times to pay for it. But how could there's no way to get it one-time score. This is what
So NAV does offer something for free. So you can check out NAV. And they have a lower subscription. Let me give my details too.
Oh, yes.
If anybody's interested, I'm capital_credit_Mish on social media. You can find me on Instagram, but that's my handle. So anyone who's interested, you can reach out to me. I can send you a link where you can do it for free, but I can also send you a link where you can monitor, and it'll be a little bit more detailed with NAV for less. It might be like 20 something bucks a month. You can monitor with them. But even on the consumer side, right, you can access your credit report for free, your actual real credit report. But on annualcreditreport.com, if you want your score, they're going to make you pay for that. Now, you can use Credit Sesame, Credit Karma, and other sites to get an idea of your score, but that's not what the actual formal credit score is, right? That's
right. But even when you pay for it for personal, you paying for that one-time view. You don't have to necessarily sign up for monthly or
no, you don't have to.
Okay.
But the subscription, right? You can cancel anytime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can pay for it one time. What I suggest people doing, you don't really need the detailed one, and I don't use Duns and Bradstreet personally. I don't use that one, but that's like the most detailed. They're going to lay everything out there. I use NAV. And, when you're starting off, get the free one. You'll get some information, right? But as you open a good amount of accounts, go ahead, and even if you don't constantly need it or keep it going, pay for the subscription, just, you know, to see what's on there. You can cancel it, and maybe you won't look at it again or want to see your score again till another 6 months or a year from now, and then you would just do it again. So you don't have to keep it going. The benefit of keeping it going is you might get alerts and, you know, things like that. So you're paying for the credit monitoring, but you can see the basic details on the free side. You just might not be able to see everything and your actual number. You'll be able to see a grade, for example. So they'll say B, they'll say C or something like that. Okay. But if you want more detail, the more detail you want, the more it's going to cost you.
So if you are denied, so again, trying to do the correlation with credit, personal credit, if you are denied by a lender, credit card company on the personal side, you are then afforded an opportunity to look at the details that allows them to get that decision. Okay, is that the same on the business side?
Nope, they owe you no explanation. Nope, you got denied.
Nope, and I'm not even going to tell you why you're doing that. Okay.
And yeah, and that's another reason why people, you know, they typically need more guidance, because now some may do it, right? Some may give you an explanation, but that they're not required by law to do so. They're not required to send you anything in writing and tell you why you didn't get. They're not required to. Some may, but some won't, and that's that.
So Mish is Misha, right? Not Mish, or is it Mish?
No, Mish. Well, I'm Kim. My name is Kimesha, but a lot of people call me Mish. So, you know, you could call me Misha, but for the most part, I'm known on social media and with my clients as Mish.
Okay, so Mish, you're dropping a lot of gems here. What made you get into doing this? What made you get into working with clients on their business credit?
So truth be told, and this is like a little embarrassing, but I got to keep it real with y'all. I always felt like I was like that financial guru type, even at a really young age. Like I was always into money. I always was into credit and understood how it worked and was able to make things happen. And when I tell you, it wasn't about till 4 or 5 years ago, I learned about business credit. And I was like, OMG, how did I not know about this? Like, what? I became like so obsessed, and I was like embarrassed. And I'm like, well, if I don't know about this, and I'm like the go-to finance person, look at how many people don't know about it, don't hear about it. And a lot of people think they have business credit because maybe you have a business credit card. No, boo-boo. That does not mean anything. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. If you don't know your business credit score, chances are you don't really have business credit. They gave you a credit card with your business name on it that you're personally liable for. And in order to get
break
that
down a little bit more. So if a person has, because you said earlier, for personal credit, they creditors, lenders, credit card companies, they automatically send that information to the bureaus. So if a company has given you a credit card, you apply under your business, the card is issued to, you know, your business name, maybe with your name on it as well. Are you saying that does not mean you have business credit?
No, it doesn't mean, I mean, you have business credit in the sense that you have credit in your business name, but it works similar to the consumer credit, but they might not report it, right? To me, it's no benefit, right? Because it still might not get reported. So that means it still might not help you grow your credit. But on top of that, you're personally liable. I know that you put your social on that application. That's an indicator. If you filled out an application and they ask for your social, you know, they might ask for your EIN as well. But if you gave them your social and you don't have credit, guess what? You know, if you look on if you read that fine print, they're coming after you. If you stop paying, you are legally liable for that money. So think of it as just how I mentioned, like a sole proprietor, sole proprietorship. Same type of thing. So that's not to say just because you have a business credit card, business credit cards don't you don't have business credit. But just because you have a business credit card, don't assume that you have the business credit that I'm talking about with when the approvals are much higher, where you're not personally liable for the money, right? That you may have just gotten a credit card in your business name and you're responsible for that money. Now, it's still helpful, right? Because you're still keeping your funds separate if you just do everything on that business card. So, you know, I'm not trying to bash it, but it's not necessarily doesn't mean like, oh, no, I'm good. I have business credit because I have business credit cards. And sometimes people think that. And I say, oh, well, what's your business credit score? Oh, I don't know. You probably don't have business credit then.
I think it's probably worth going over again the difference. So business credit, what in your mind, how would you define that to somebody who thought having a business credit card means they have business credit? How would you say to them, or you already said, no, boo-boo, it's not, but how would you define business credit if we were to ask you, define it for us?
So I would define business credit as credit that it's going to always be at least 5 figures for the most part. Like my very first, this is early on, I want to say maybe 45 to 60 days out, my first credit line was $10,000, very low. On the business side.
That's low.
That's low. That's on the low end. That's early, like, okay, that was my first line of credit. That was probably after I had like the 5 accounts open. That was like maybe my 6th account, you know, so you're going to have at least like 5 figures worth of credit with business credit. I define it as if you're reporting, right? Because that's what's going to help you grow your credit score and have a better business credit profile. Because again, when it comes to those really large amounts, like when I got to the point where I'm getting $150,000 offers, that's because now I have 15 accounts reporting. If you have 3 credit cards and none of your credit cards are reporting, you're not going to get the $150,000. You don't have enough accounts. The few accounts that you do have, they're not reporting. They're just not going to, it's not going to happen. So one of the biggest criteria for me is, am I personally liable? Because that's really one of the biggest distinctions. And it's not to say, you know, sometimes it can be true business credit and they might give you a large amount, but they might want you to, you know, have a personal guarantee and be a grantor on that credit. And that's not bad if they do. That's a decision you have to make, because sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'll do this. And once I do this and show and prove, I won't have to do it. You know, the more I do this, the more other people won't require it.
Okay, got it. So, if I were to use what you've said to define business credit, you're talking about when somebody has lines of credit available to them, like you said, 5 figures for whatever the purposes that they need. You're not talking about a little $500,000 credit card that they may get with their business. You're talking about you have this line of credit where you can go, I don't know, have an event that you need to pay for all of your things that are associated with that event, virtual or in person or whatever it is that you're doing. You're talking about extensive capital opportunity to be able to do various different things within your business.
Yes. And that's not to say, like, I have legit business credit cards, store credit cards, Amazon, you know, they have business credit cards. You know, a lot of the cards that are available to you on the consumer side, the store cards are available on the business side. Yes, that still can be real business credit. Some of them may not require the personal guarantee. To me, the personal guarantee is the largest factor. If it's something that's reporting, that is one of the larger factors. If it's not reporting, it doesn't really help you. It doesn't really separate you, other than It doesn't allow you to get those really big offers. And that still may be in a credit card. Listen, business credit, period, the terms are better in terms of the interest rates. They're lower. Now, oftentimes the terms are shorter, right? Where, there's not going to be like a 30-year term. Typically you might see a 5-year term, 1-year term, 3-year term. It's very popular for real estate. The majority of my business clients, credit clients, are into real estate. And that's what they want the funding for. It's for commercial real estate, or to be able to flip a property easy, right? Because now, like I said, the terms are shorter, but if you're just getting this capital to improve a property, fix it up, now I'm going to sell it. When you sell it, you'll be able to pay back the lender and have some extra money in your pocket. So the terms are shorter. It is different, but I'm just saying, don't automatically assume, oh, I have a business credit card, I have business credit. Well, if you didn't open up any business reports, if you put your social on that application, yes, you have business credit in a sense, but it's basically a personal credit card with your business on it, where it might not be all the same perks that typically come with business credit.
Got it. And so you started to go there. So I was going to ask you, like, what types of industries are your clients in? I think I heard you say real estate. Are there others, or is this pertinent for anybody that's in business?
Anybody that's in business.
Okay.
Anybody that's in business. Listen, cash flow is the lifeline to any business. And it is so difficult when you're first starting off as an entrepreneur. It's like, well, how do you scale? Like, how do you grow your business if you don't have the money to invest in marketing? If you don't have the money to invest in maybe payroll, how do you do all of these things, right? Oftentimes, a successful business, there's a lot of testing involved, right? And things aren't going to work, which is perfectly okay. That's part of the process. And sometimes you might think something worked, and then you do another test and you're like, well, that in comparison to, the results this is getting me, that was a flop. And oftentimes people aren't successful in business because they run out of cash before testing. You have to do so much testing to figure out what works and what doesn't. And people get frustrated because, and I'm going to keep it real. Like, my first business, this was like, I was probably 21 when I had my first business. Oh my God, I was so stupid. So misinformed. And I thought, okay, like, I have this great idea, boom, it's going to work. And I didn't really understand how much grit that was required to have a business. It's not about just having the knowledge. I wasn't stupid in terms of that, because I was always somebody that researched, but I was silly in terms of, I thought, oh, it's going to hit right away. Yeah. And it didn't. Well, that's because for whatever excuse I would make, and that would be that. And I just got tired of investing and throwing away, and I quit too early. And that's what most people do. They think that it's maybe TV or social media or whatever. They think they don't really understand people's backstory. Yeah. They see somebody successful and think,
exactly.
Boom, like, they don't know that, no, this was 10 years in the making.
I was just about to say, they see year 5 and they didn't follow the journey when you were in year 1 or year 10, or, they didn't, whatever year you're on now is what they're looking at versus when you're starting. You're so right on that. So credit, I think this has been very helpful. And hopefully those that are listening have found that when you have a business credit card, it doesn't necessarily mean you have business credit. And business credit is really important when you're in business for the reasons that you just named. Now, there are several people out there that would say, I have no debt on my business. And that in their mind is a good thing. What do you have to say on that? Because your business is about, okay, you want these lines of credit, you need to have that, your business will be looked upon more favorably. It allows you to do the things you said. But what do you say to the person who says that equals debt to me? And how do you react to that?
So, I'm a big believer in not reinventing the wheel. I like to follow methods of successful people to the best of my ability. So I know how Walmart built their business, was on business credit. I know that most businesses have debt. That's why there's the stock market, right? Where that's basically how it works, where they get investors, right, to front them money, right? Like that's typical and standard with any business, any Fortune 500 company, and it's needed to grow your business. It doesn't mean that you're not profitable. It doesn't mean that you're not successful. But when you want to grow and expand, sometimes you're going to need, most times you're going to need the capital to do so. You don't want to just use your money. Like, for example, and I'm like this on my personal side too, right? I might have $15,000 in the bank, and I might decide to buy a $15,000 car. I want cash flow. So maybe I'll put $5,000 down so my payments are less, but I'm never going to tie up all my cash flow. What sense does that make?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, so, and I'm not saying it's always bad. Some people go ahead and buy a property outright or go ahead and buy the car outright. But what I'm saying is, if you decide to do those things, then you should be in a place where you have maybe 5-10 times more of that cash aside, so big businesses, that's what they do. Like it's not a secret. Any successful business, they have debt. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It's only bad if they're in all of this debt and they're not producing the cash flow that they need to build and grow and get out of that debt. That's when it's bad. So, healthy debt and bad debt.
Yeah. So this has been great. So absolutely your contact information will be in the show notes. So before we end, I want you to do two things. One, what would you tell the listeners, those many entrepreneurs that are listening, those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, what would you tell them or want them to understand? So remember yourself several years ago when you didn't know, and then you stepped into it and now have built a business upon it. What should they know about business credit that you want to leave them with? And then lastly, tell them where they can find Mish.
Okay.
So, and if you have any program, anything going on that you want them to know about.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of things. Here's what I would say. I would say business credit, and I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Business credit is, you can have a successful business without business credit. I don't want to get that message out there like, oh, if you don't have business credit, your business won't be successful. Like, that's not true. People have successful businesses without business credit. But what I will say is business credit makes it a hell of a lot easier for your business to be successful, right? So there's that. And regardless of whether you have business credit or not, right, it's not some magic tool where, oh, well, you have access to that money, you're going to be a successful business. No, it doesn't mean that either, because you still have to understand business. You still have to be educated. One of the most important things is, understanding the process, understanding there's people that have a good credit score and this can be somewhat by luck, right? But you want to be educated on that. You want to know how business credit works. You want to know your rights as a consumer, business credit wise, personal credit wise, in general, right? So it's important to educate yourself on the process. It's important to keep going. You have to have that determination. And that's one of the messages that I would like to share and just get across to any and everybody. You know, that grit is key, and you haven't failed until you quit.
There you go.
Right? You haven't failed until you quit. So just keep that in mind. I offer business credit services and consumer credit services for anyone who is interested. And what we can do for any of your listeners, we can do a promo.
Yay,
code.
they love promos.
Yeah,
Promo coming, y'all. All right, promo. Let's hear.
Let's do a promo code. Anybody who's interested in my personal credit or business credit services, you can send me a DM or you can email me. My email is a little tricky, but I'll give it to you, Patrina, and the audience as well. But Kimesha, Kim like Mary, ESHA at financialgrowthstrategies.com. That's Kimesha at financialgrowthstrategies.com. Or you can send me a direct message on Instagram. My username is capital_credit_Mish. Now, when you hit me up, this is what you need to put. It's my money.
Yes!
Okay? That's your promo code. Yes, that's going to be your promo code. So if you want 20% off any of my services, you need to let me know you're down with the It's My Money team. All right?
Thank you for dropping it for our listeners like that. So you heard it here. She has a promo. You contact her at her email address or DM her on Instagram. Both of those will be in the show notes. So you have a place to find both of that, and she can help you both with your business credit and your personal credit. So you want to make sure you check her out. And don't forget, It's My Money gets you 20% off of those services. So you want to make sure that you check her out. Mish, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. You know, the gems that you dropped. I don't know if you saw me over here, but what I was doing here is taking notes. So thank you so much for what you shared and making yourself available to the listeners so that they can get more capital for the businesses. So I appreciate you.
Listen, I appreciate you. Thank you for all the information that you're spreading to us. It is so important. So thank you, Miss Dixon, for all that you're doing. And also, too, if they want a free discovery call, we can do that too, where I learn about them, okay? So same thing, they still have to, for their free discovery call, I still want that promo. But they could get 20% off, or we'll do a free discovery call so they can find out more information, all right? And thank you. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. I am so grateful for this opportunity.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for listening to another episode of The Money Exchange. And don't forget, make sure you subscribe so you will know when all of our episodes air. And if you enjoy, give us a thumbs up or drop us a comment and let Mish and I know what you thought about this episode. Okay? All right, everybody, have a good night. Okay, hold on.